Today we're going to meet the fastest man in India. He's all about speed, fun and excitement. He's achieved what very few men can. Let's meet India's pride, the Formula One racer, Armaan Ebrahim. How and when did you decide you wanted to become a racer?
It was never planned that I was going to become a racer. It was actually when I was 13, my dad said, I'm going to Bangalore, there's this training program happening, some performance carts are coming down to India for the first time, the Malaysian guys are bringing them down. These Malaysians who came down, who brought the carts down, were interested in me and they came up to me and said, are you interested in coming to Malaysia and I'll train you as long as you work with me through your summer holidays and things like that. So, I said, yeah, it's good. It sounds good. I'll get you to go and race karts, how much, for free basically. I didn't realize the work part, but I was like, I went that summer and I actually ended up work at the workshop, but, and he taught me basically the ins and outs of fixing a go-kart, so basically be a mechanic through the week, the workshop through the week, and then he would train me and then get me to race all the various championships that were there. So that's how it started, and initially it was just see where it goes, kind of a thing. I started doing well there. I started winning races, and that's when we decided, okay, let's take it one step further and just see where things go. And the following year, I won the National Racing and Karting Championship, as well as finishing third in the Asian Karting Championship as well. And after winning the National Racing Championship that same year, I decided, okay, now, I got my first sponsor on board. I decided, okay, now let me take it as a career. And even though I was really young, but at least I had the support of my family and JK, who still support me till today, so I had their support. And we went one step further, went internationally, and the rest, has been history basically, going one level after another and still making a career out of it. I've been racing now for just over 10 years, 11 years to be exact. Back in 2004, I won both the National Karting and National Racing Championships. Since then, I've moved abroad and raced abroad right through, representing India on various levels of competition. Well, this track, Marina Kart Arena, is very new. It's a real baby actually. It started only 10 days ago. See, I'm sitting in a go-kart, and these are the recreational go-karts which people can come and use on a daily basis. This is basically to try and increase the awareness of motorsports in a very general format. And if you're a kid, this could be the starting point of your racing career. So this is the most basic part of motorsport and racing, and this is where a lot of careers have started. Well, this track is about 250 meters long in length, about 7 meters in width. It's got about six corners. We've diversified into slow and fast, so people get an experience of both. Modern day racing cars are very technical. There's a lot of things that the driver has to do inside the car. For example, when I was racing in Formula 2, I had to change my front wing settings while driving, and the dynamic settings which are called the roll bars. You change that while driving as well. So you adjust your car while you're driving. That means you have to feel it and you have to know what to do. There is a limited amount of time that you get on track. It's very important as a driver to understand what is happening with the car in the sense, the engineering side of it. An important term would be track analysis. For example, when you turn up at a new track, and you look at it, and to the bare eye, everything looks the same. But when you walk it, and because you only have limited time to drive, your practice only limited to 1 or 2 hours. So within 3 laps, you're supposed to learn the track and understand what the car is doing, the dynamics of the car, and then be able to explain it to your engineer. So the best way to understand a track is by studying it before you even get there. So, for example, if there is a 90-degree right-hander, to keep it simple, if it's just leveled, then okay, it's quite simple. But if there's a gradient, they call it camber. Then that allows there to be more grip to the car because your tires work better at a gradient. So things like that, the technical areas where the driver makes a difference to the engineer or the team when he gets to a new venue. I've been fortunate enough to race pretty much all over the world so far. I mean, I've raced in Asia, all over Asia, in America, in Europe and whatnot. So my favorite overall track would be Spa-Francorchamps, which is in Belgium. Why I love it? Because it's about 6.9 to 7 kilometers long. It's got various gradients. You go up there's one corner which you're completely flat out, doing about 300 kilometers, but you're going like 4 stories up. It's that high, So, and you go through the forest, and so at one point of time, half the track will be wet because it's raining at one area, and half the track will be dry. So it's very challenging. but it's really beautiful as well to drive on. And every driver you ask, every time he gets it right, there's always a smile on his face, you know. So every time I've driven there and things have gone well, you know, and you get it right, you get 7 kilometers right all the time for like 1.5 to 2 hours, it really brings out a smile on your face. I think a lot of people undermine the fact that, you know, they think racing is just sitting in a car and just driving like a normal road car, but I think it's one of the most physical sports that your body endures because one, the distance is a lot. You're driving for about minimum 1.5 hours, you know, and you're going through about 4 to 5 Gs at least through every corner for that 1 hour, and that's what a fighter pilot goes through when he takes off and lands. But we're going through the whole race, so you know your body goes through tremendous amount of forces. So your whole body works well. Your cardiovascular and your strength both are working continuously, and you can't be too big as well. You got to keep yourself agile. In India, motorsport is still growing. It's kind of new in India, and you know, it's not. Whereas for example, in Europe and UK, it's like what cricket is here. It's, you know, it's part of life, you know. Whereas here, it's something different. I mean, it's only now that the government is starting to look at it as a sport. So that is one challenge. Two, obviously, it is an expensive sport, and to get funding is very difficult, especially not if you're not a multi-millionaire. But apart from that, it's finding sponsors and, you know, trying to explain to companies, corporates in India who do not understand it, how they can actually gain from it, and what pluses there are for them if they try and sponsor you and try to help you grow in the sport and reach the highest level. So that is one major challenge that a lot of drivers face, and I personally have faced all my career. But as long as you're willing to give it all, you should try to break that and try to overcome that. I think racing has like a lot of downsides because, for example, for no fault of yours, your engine could stop and you're out of the race on second lap while you're leading, on the last lap while you're leading, and not only that, sometimes, you know, if you're struggling with the budgets, you don't get the drive you want, and there are various aspects, you know, to not getting what you want. But then the minute something goes well and you have a good race, out of 10 you have 2 good races, but those 2 good races give you so much joy and you feel so good that you forget all the other 8. And that's the high motorsport can give you. You know, this even 1 out of 100, but you'll remember that one, and forget the rest. You know. And yeah, obviously we've had some crashes, but that's part and parcel of it. That's how you learn. You learn the limits of the driving perspective, and also you learn the limits of the car. And also, you know, sometimes you have to expect that sometimes things go wrong with mechanisms, with machines. Motorsport is getting safer by the year, and it's very safe. Obviously, you have your freak accidents and things go wrong, but the knowledge that there is a certain amount of risk to it is there, but you can't be thinking of that all the time because I guess then you don't give your 100%. If you're scared, the minute I'm scared, the minute I'm afraid of something, I'm not going to drive. I hang my gloves up because I know I'm not going to give 100%. So even though I'm aware of the dangers around it, and you got to be sensible about it, but you can't be afraid of it because like I said, if I was, then I wouldn't be doing it. I guess my family also came to terms with it as once the result, because I started getting results immediately. So I'm very thankful for that. I mean, in the first 2 years, whatever I did, I was winning, you know, and so I think they came to terms with that quite easily because, again, it was not like, oh, I'm going to build up to it. I entered and I started winning straight away. For example, I entered the national racing and karting championship when I was 14, and yeah, I won it in my first year. So that made things a little easier in their perspective. So they came to terms with it. Obviously, as long as the foundation is strong, then you don't care what everyone else thinks and if anyone else says no, it doesn't matter as long as the core strength is there. Whether it's racing or whatever field you're getting into, I mean, it's very easy to say, okay, you're passionate about it, but you also have to love it and be realistic about it, you know, and just keep it open-minded and just keep yourself open-minded to the various opportunities that field can offer you. You know, sometimes if you're single track, then if that doesn't work out, it comes to a world's end. You know, but you need to be broad-minded really and see what all the opportunities that field can offer you and make the most out of it. And at the end of the day, you need to be doing something that you love because that's when you're going to make the most of it and give it all, I guess.
Okay, thank you so much for the lovely time.
Good luck with everything.